You are shaken up. Your adrenaline's high and your car's a mess. But what you do in the next few hours matters more than you think. Most people miss critical steps and it wrecks their chances of getting the money they actually deserve. I'm Mama Justice, a personal injury attorney here in Mississippi, and I've spent the last 20 years helping folks recover from accidents just like this. So in this video, I'll walk you through the 5 biggest mistakes people make after a crash so you can avoid them. Protect your claim, and stop the insurance company from taking advantage of you. Because once you know what not to do, you're in a much stronger position to fight back and get what's fair. Let's talk about the first mistake I see people make after a car accident here in Mississippi. It's more common than you might think. Not calling the police, especially when the accident doesn't seem too bad. Maybe the other driver says, let's just handle it between ourselves. Or you both check your cars and maybe you see only just a scratch. You might think you're saving time or avoiding a hassle, but skipping this step can create real problems down the road. Here's why the official police report is often the most single important piece of evidence in a Mississippi car accident case. Insurance companies rely on that report to determine who's at fault. And if you end up filing a lawsuit, that report makes your story much stronger. If you don't call the police, it becomes your word against the other driver. And I can tell you, the people's stories change, especially when insurance money and injuries are involved later on. I remember one case when a client got rear-ended at a stoplight in Jackson. The other driver seemed to be honest, and both agreed just to exchange phone numbers and leave. 2 days later, the other driver claimed it was my client's fault who backed into them. There was no police report, no neutral third party to state what happened, and the insurance company ended up splitting the fault 50-50. My client had to pay for half of the repairs, and it could have all been avoided with a simple phone call to the police. Under Mississippi law, you're actually required to report an accident if there are injuries, death, or property damage is over $500. And with today's vehicle repair cost, even a small dent can easily hit that mark. So don't take a chance. Always call the police to the scene, no matter how minor the accident seems. Protect yourself with the official police record. Mistake number 2 is one I see far too often. People skip medical treatment because they don't feel hurt right away. After an accident, your adrenaline is pumping. You might think it was just a fender bender and I'm okay. I'll go home and rest. But car accident injuries aren't always obvious at the moment. Things like whiplash, concussions, or soft tissue damage can take hours or even days to show up. If you wait too long to see a doctor, insurance companies will use that against you. They'll say, if you were really hurt, you would have gone to the hospital right away. It sounds unfair, but it happens all the time. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes to prove your injuries were caused by the accident and not something else. Let me give you another real-world example. I worked with a woman from Gulfport who got sideswiped on Highway 90. She felt fine after the crash and went home, and she only went to her doctor a week later when the neck pain got so unbearable. The insurance company argued her injury could have happened anywhere. Even just sleeping wrong could have made her hurt. We still won her case, but it was much, much harder. It was a tougher battle than it had to be. Here in Mississippi, your medical records are the foundation of your injury claim. So if you're in an accident, get checked out by a doctor as soon as possible, even if you feel like you're okay. Not only is it important for your health, but it's also important to protect your recovery rights later on. Mistake number 3 comes from just basic Southern politeness. People apologize, even when the accident isn't their fault. I get it. In Mississippi, we're raised to be courteous. But after an accident, saying I'm sorry can hurt your case more than you realize. Insurance adjusters and even juries can take that sorry as an admission of guilt. Let's say you get rear-ended in Hattiesburg. Maybe you step out of the car, shaken up, and instinctively you say, I'm so sorry, I stopped suddenly. The other driver's insurer could latch onto that. Suddenly, what should have been a clear case of them being at fault gets muddy. Even if the accident wasn't your fault at all, those words can come back to haunt you. Mississippi uses what's called pure comparative negligence. That means your compensation can be reduced by any percentage you're found to be at fault. Even saying something innocent at the scene can be twisted later on. I've seen cases where an offhand comment led to a client losing thousands of dollars. The best thing to do: exchange information, check for injuries, cooperate with law enforcement, but don't discuss who caused the accident. Save the details for your attorney and your insurer. If you have anything to say, keep it factual. Are you okay? And let's wait for the police. That's all you need to say. Time for a fourth big mistake, and this one is easy to fix if you know what to do. People forget to collect evidence at the scene. After a crash, it's easy to get overwhelmed or think the police will handle everything. But your own evidence can make a huge difference later on, especially if details are disputed. Take out your phone. Snap photos of everything: the vehicle, the damage, skid marks, road signs, traffic lights, and injuries if you have any. Get wide shots and close-up. Take a video. If they're witnesses, ask for their names and their phone numbers. Don't depend on the police to record all the details you might need. Their main job is to make sure everyone is safe and to file a basic report. I had a case in Meridian where my client took just 3 photos of his car, but nothing else. Later on, the other driver claimed he'd run a red light. There were no photos of the intersection or the traffic signals. We had to track down a security camera from a nearby store to prove the truth. Had my client just taken a few more pictures, everything would have been much simpler. Mississippi law says you have the right to collect evidence at the scene. Don't be shy about using your phone. The more you document, the better your case will be, and your attorney will thank you. Trust me. The fifth and final mistake is letting your guard down when the insurance company calls. After an accident, you might get a call from the other driver's insurer or even your own. They might sound friendly. We just want to get your side of the story. But remember, their main job is to pay out as little as possible. Insurance adjusters are trained to get you to say things that hurt your claim. They may even ask you for a recorded statement or offer you a quick settlement. Once you accept their check or sign a release, you could be giving up your right to seek more compensation, even if your injuries turn out to be worse than you thought. Here's an example. I had a client in Tupelo who had what looked like a minor back injury. The insurance company called a couple of days after his accident and offered him $2,000 for his troubles. He was out of work, behind on bills, and he almost took it. But he came to see me first. Turns out, after more medical tests, he needed surgery. His actual claim ended up being worth over $60,000. In Mississippi, you don't have to give a statement to the other driver's insurance company, and you never have to accept their first offer. Before you talk to them, talk to a local personal injury attorney who understands Mississippi law. It doesn't cost a thing for an initial consultation at most firms, including ours. You have nothing to lose, but you do have a lot to gain. Okay, so let's recap the 5 biggest mistakes people make after a car accident in Mississippi. Number 1, not calling the police to the scene, even for minor injuries. Number 2, skipping immediate medical attention because you think you feel okay. Number 3, admitting fault or apologizing at the scene. Number 4, not collecting your own evidence, photos, witness information, and more. And last, number 5, talking to the insurance companies or accepting an offer without legal help. Avoiding these mistakes can make all the difference in your recovery, your finances, and your peace of mind. If you want to protect yourself and your loved ones, take these tips to heart. Remember, Mississippi law is on your side, but you have to know how to use it. Thanks so much for watching. If you want to dive deeper into car accident claims and really protect your rights, click the first link in the description to learn more. And if you found this helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe so that you don't miss future videos. See you over there.